This is a case study analysis conducted by Christy Barbeau, Ashley Hendricks, Roderick Lyons, and Diane Williams for the current Issues in Leadership class for the spring of 2014. Pixar Studios was the brainchild of Alexander Sher, the president of the New York Institute of Technology. His dream was to create an animated film from a sound recording. In order to do so, he felt it would be imperative to recruit Edward Catmull, a computer scientist with a PhD from the University of Utah. Catmull then recruited others with outstanding qualifications to help in making the films. Pixar gets its name from the imaging computer used to create the animation, the Pixar computer. Catmull later teamed with Hollywood director George Lucas and even Steve Jobs to help develop the company, and in the late 1990s, A Bug's Life and Toy Story 2 were released. As the company began to expand, new hits were released, such as Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, and The Incredibles. This allowed Disney the opportunity to purchase Pixar from Steve Jobs, and at the same time, Cars was released, and in line with the other movies, was a hit. Catmull was named as the president of both Disney and Pixar, and later 3 new Oscars were received, with Wall-E, Frozen, and Wreck-It Ralph. A major strength for Pixar was the visionary leadership of Edwin Catmull. He had the ability to develop a team of employees and allowed them to use organic leadership to produce each film. With this, all 11 of the new films released were among top animated films based on box office revenues. Pixar also has strengths in their branding of the animated movie's successfulness. They appeal not only to children, but have substance in the storylines that attract adults as well. In addition to making the movies that entertain children and adults alike, they also have all the merchandise that can be tied to each movie produced. Pixar's in-house training program offered 110 courses that covered subjects such as live improvisation, creative writing, painting, drawing, sculpting, and cinematography. This in-house training program allowed Pixar to stay on the cutting edge of creative technology and use realistic simulation of human skin and clothing when possible. One of the biggest weaknesses that Pixar has is the time needed to develop the new movies and the high cost of producing them. Because of this, they have limited annual movie releases and an increase in revenue volatility. Also, George Lucas wanted to use computer animation exclusively for special effects, and this was more time-consuming. Digital piracy was also an issue because it's on the rise. With limited resources for controlling the piracy, this can and will affect future profits. One of the major competitors for Pixar's is Walt Disney. Pixar felt that in order to keep this external environment from hindering their growth, they would partner with Disney and DreamWorks to help them achieve the growth they were wanting. This allowed Pixar to capture the industry and exceed with the continuous films released among the top animated films of all times, right up until today. This took Pixar to infinity and beyond. Gail Avery defines leadership as the art of mobilizing others to want to struggle for shared aspirations. The founder, Edward Catmull, was a visionary leader. He teamed with Lucas from DreamWorks Studios and later with Steve Jobs, who had experience and connections along with the funding needed. This put Pixar under a classical form of leadership. Catmull, the keeper of the company's unique culture, realized in developing innovative, quality animated films, he would have to have creative ideas and thus moved to an organic leadership style in the development of each movie. This culture would allow creative, innovative visions to emerge in a group setting of story making for the Pixar movies. Founders at Pixar's corporate level strategy began to build upon the pursuit of creative innovation by creating programs to develop their employees. By doing this, they were able to attract the talented people who would produce the films that Pixar was known for. The company's in-house training also allowed Pixar to remain on the cutting edge of creative technology using realistic simulation. The corporate-level strategy to encourage collaboration among all employees was to allow continued development and retain key values tied to the success of Pixar required a masseuse and a doctor to come to the company each week. This strategy was identified to avoid collaborative burnout of Pixar employees. The business-level strategy of Pixar is to continue to become accomplished storytellers. The company's creative business energy goes into story development, and the organization is determined to be in command of how they will compete and position themselves in the industry. They are determined to develop into an animated movie studio that becomes known for the quality of its storytelling above anything else. The company relies heavily on John Lasseter, Creative Vice President, for story developments. He is very passionate about developing great stories and harnessing the computer to tell these stories. The structure and control systems for the Pixar company was the strategic imperatives and the values with these following creative components: customer focus, winning teams, and innovative excellence. Pixar uses computer animation to make films and pushes technology. The New York Institute of Technology fosters the control of the company's development and ensures the success of continued development of quality Pixar employees. Our recommendation is that the company should continue to focus on the latest technology and the company's customer needs. And focusing on the current issues in leadership, they should continue focusing on globalization in their development of film animation. It is also recommended that their success is based on the continued talent they recruit through equal employment and training to allow Pixar's development for the 21st century, to infinity and beyond. Pixar uses creative talent that develops three-dimensional appearances for characters everyone can relate to, for heartwarming stories that appeal to audiences of all ages. Pixar has 4 Oscars for Best Animation, which represents half of the 8 trophies they have been presented since the category was added in 2001. The company's first animation film grossed more than $1 billion in theaters worldwide, and today's revenues gross more than $382 billion. The references are as follows. Any questions or comments?